Hello and welcome to the first session of the State Support Team Region 8 Adolescent Literacy Series.
I'm Tracy Mail.
And I'm Debbie Thurl. We are your hosts for this journey into the whys and hows of supporting literacy through the adolescent continuum, which addresses grades 4 through 12. We are excited that you have joined us to understand why we are beginning the series with a vocabulary focus, and to make the case that it is never too late to address literacy with students of all ages and ability.
We have designed short, focused webinars that will be housed on the State Support Team Region 8 YouTube channel and will be released periodically through the spring of the 2020-2021 school years. These videos are designed to be short to allow for individual learning or collaborative team discussions. The webinars available in spring 2020 will focus on the why and what of vocabulary instruction for adolescent readers. The 2020-2021 school year will focus on the how and what to do with diverse learners.
Our agenda today is focused around the importance of explicitly addressing vocabulary as one of the most highly recommended strategies for adolescent literacy in every discipline or subject area. We have provided resources within the slides as well as in the information section below this YouTube video.
We want you to understand a few key learning intentions with this webinar. There is an urgency behind the need to address adolescent literacy, including building vocabulary and background knowledge in the content areas in grades 4 through 12. In order to do that, it is imperative that the foundations of literacy development are understood as they relate to upper elementary, middle school, and high school classrooms. The resources provided will support you in learning more and digging deeper in the evidence base of this topic.
Adolescent literacy is an important topic in our schools across the nation. However, Ohio, where our support team is located, has an overall vision for the education of all students. In Each Child, Our Future, Ohio's vision is that each child is challenged, prepared, and empowered. In order for students to be successful under this plan, all students must have the opportunity to become proficient readers. To understand the elements of this plan related to literacy, Ohio is advocating that the science of reading drives all literacy conversations and content, as well as the development and organization of resources.
So, why bother addressing adolescent literacy? Shouldn't students have learned to read in kindergarten through 3rd grade? Doesn't the focus change when the students enter 4th grade and they are reading to learn? The answer is both yes and no. Typically, students learn the foundations of reading in the early grades. However, not all students acquire the skills necessary to be successful when the academic demands require more complex reading to learn. Therefore, the 5 big ideas of reading as they pertain to adolescent academic demands should continue to have a central focus across the curriculum and the grade levels. Unfortunately, the 380,000 students in 2018 from grades 3 through 12 show that there is a serious gap in student literacy skills and the ability to meet the increasing demands in every subject. This is a very concerning statistic.
This is a crisis, folks. So Ohio's vision is to address this crisis by providing educators the evidence-based training and resources to make a difference. Ohio's plan to raise literacy achievement provides specific recommendations for teaching reading and to address the needs of all learners to become proficient readers. See the resource links below this video to access Ohio's plan to raise literacy achievement.
Tim Shanahan reminds us that in grades 4 through 12, there is an expectation that students will be able to read and manipulate text with increasing complexity. Teaching in these grades tends to focus on reading to learn, not necessarily learning to read. This negatively impacts students who are lacking in the foundational skills to read proficiently. There is research to back up, however, that it is never too late to address adolescent literacy.
In both elementary and secondary grades, 5 big ideas of reading were identified by the National Reading Panel in the year 2000. In the elementary grades, the 5 big ideas build the foundational skills to learn to read. In the secondary grades, the focus shifts to the necessary skills that continue to support the literacy demands required of adolescent learners. Vocabulary is a skill that spans the age continuum.
Now, let's take a deeper look at the 5 big ideas for adolescent readers through the simple view of reading. The graphic on this slide illustrates how the simple view of reading breaks out into word recognition and language comprehension. As you can see, the simple view of reading formula utilizes multiplication because if a student is proficient with the skills on one side and not the other, the result will be a deficit in reading comprehension. In other words, 1 times 0 equals 0.
The Institute of Educational Sciences in 2008 published a document of effective evidence-based practices for adolescent learners. One of the strongest instructional practices is explicit vocabulary instruction. This resource is also provided below in the video on the SST8 YouTube channel.
Research shows that vocabulary and background knowledge are critical to reading comprehension. This quote from Natalie Wexler exemplifies this relationship. We have offered evidence that continuing to focus on literacy in the secondary grades is important. However, how this actually looks in practice is worthy of reflection. Individually or with your collaborative group, pause this webinar and consider the question on this slide. Take a few minutes to think about and discuss what vocabulary actually looks like now in your classroom and why it looks this way. This reflection will focus your mindset for our next webinar topic of the foundational skills for vocabulary and the science of reading. Please restart this webinar to finish.
Today's webinar focused around the importance of explicitly addressing vocabulary as one of the most highly recommended strategies for adolescent literacy in every discipline or subject area. A reminder that we have provided resources within the slides as well as in the information section below this YouTube video for your review. We look forward to continuing our dive in adolescent literacy with the second webinar in our series, Science of Reading Foundations for Vocabulary.
Thank you, and see you next time.